Aren't you stressed about this? Like, I appreciate the seriousness of this process, but I'm not stressed about it because I know that we're doing what we need to do, okay? So don't stress. Remember, that translates over to the students. Keep the room comfortable for students. I know some of that's going to be out of your control, all right? But do what you can there. One of the things, we talk about the sterile classrooms and covering up. You got to cover up instructional material. On days that you're giving math stuff needs to be covered up. On days that you're giving reading language arts things need to be covered up. Okay, math things can be out on those days. All right, so everything, you don't have to take everything down. Just be mindful of what test you're giving those particular days. All right, if you take something down, it's okay to replace it with something pretty. You don't have to make the room completely sterile, okay? You can have pictures up and whatever, but you just can't have things that deal with that particular test. Wear comfortable clothing that will not distract students. Forget about perfume, okay? Don't all of a sudden wear a bunch of fragrance products. All right. Follow the laws and policies and procedures. I'm going to go back to the perfume thing. There are a couple of people that I hear them come into the front part of my office and immediately get up from my desk and I walk out and I meet them in the front part where my secretary is because I just don't want them in my office. Not that they're not likable people. The fragrance just completely messed up my head. Okay, completely messed up my head. And, I don't know if they're aware of it or not. But please, you be aware of those things. Don't allow yourself to burn out yet. Hang in there. All right, keep the students in between the subtests and give the kids a break. Collect up materials. You don't want anybody wandering around the room. Nobody wanders around the room with test materials out. All right. So if your school has it scheduled where you're going to have a 15-minute break or whatever after a subtest, you're going to close books, collect them up, check them all in, and then the students are going to, If you just want to have like a little stretch break in between the subtests, you can do that. All right. With test materials, the booklet's shut and all, but. Anyway, there's little things you can do. One trick that I would tell my students, and honestly, I don't know if this is true or not, but I like to think it is because of the way your brain's wired. Most of us are one side of the brain dominant, but in reality, we work off of both sides of our brain a lot, okay? But when we really get into intense, deep focus, we tend to rely on one side of our brain more than the other. We work optimally when both sides are firing. All right? So as I start to take a test, I'm doing all this ambidextrous stuff. I sit down and both sides of my brain are firing and I'm going along, but as I concentrate, I revert more and more to my dominant side. And so I lose performance. So what I would tell my students is you've got to reconnect. Every so many minutes, reconnect the two sides of your brain. And it's easy to do that. Put your pen down, pick it up with this hand, follow it over here, drop it, and pick it up with the other hand, follow it over here. Do that once or twice, or just move it here where they don't have to make this huge motion to distract people. Just move it from one side to another, or consciously touch this knee, touch that knee. Those little things, just real quick, reconnect the two sides of your brain, then go on. The reality is, it may just be just that mental break your brain needs to say, okay, and wake up and get moving again. But the concept is there to keep your brain as sharp as it can. All right, they're not going to pull a muscle in their brain. Happy TCAP testing. May the scores be ever in your favor. I'm not sure what that means. That means something to my kids, though. That's it. Anybody have any questions? And everyone else saying, do not ask a question. Please feel free to email me or call me. I don't mind answering anything that you might have to answer.